Hey, what's up, guys? I know this is an entirely different format for me, but I'm just, this is what I have to work with here. I got my good friend Emilio right here, and we're going to talk about the first episode of Digimon Fusion. Milo, what'd you think?
Personally, for a first episode, it was pretty good for the Digimon series, and it's great to see it back on an actual channel that's not hard to get, like Jetix and whatnot. I mean, I'm still disappointed most people didn't see Digimon Savers, or here known in America, Digimon Data Squad. I felt that was the season that brought Digimon back, and which is why we have it on Nickelodeon today.
Is it? Oh, and you've actually seen the dub version or the sub version of this, right?
Yes, I've seen every Digimon season in sub version and in American dubbed, and as far as I can tell for the American version, all they've really changed so far is a couple of lines. His name is not Mikey, it's actually Kuro Taiki. So you could get where they got Mikey from. It's not that far from it.
I thought that Mikey was a bit of an Americanized name for a Japanese character, especially given like what we got in the past, which was Tai and Takato. And all of a sudden we got Mikey, and I'm like, sounds a little bit too, in the States for us.
I know, and I think it's like the first time it's ever been done. I won't say for sure. Maybe the 4th season they may have done it, but I don't think so. So this is like the first time I think they've done Americanized version name, which I don't think is right when they basically already established that they're in Japan.
They're set in Japan, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Americans don't have kendo.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I guess that makes sense. Also, like, I don't know, was it just me, or did he sound, like, the character of Mikey sound a lot like a cross between Tai and Takato, like, as far as the voice goes?
I couldn't really tell. I mean, it's possible. I'd have to go check that out.
Like, as far as my research goes, he's not, like, a part of the original cast, but he sounds a lot like both of them do.
Maybe
I don't know, maybe they directed him that way,
They possibly wanted them to sound closely related, since this is being Digimon bringing back. So I guess they might have assumed, hey, try to get as close as this without being this as possible.
Also, there's a lot of, I assume this is a different universe from, like, the past 4 or 5 that have come before it.
Now, I'm assuming, because they didn't really explain it in the Japanese version, but I believe this is an entirely different universe. It's not related to 4, 5, 3, 2, or 1. In this version, as you can tell, they are talking about a Digimon King. Yeah. And
that was cool. I really like the idea that it's like the first season where it's almost like quest-based, and he shows up and Shaman goes like, I am the future Digimon King, and I was like, that's interesting, but what the hell is he talking about?
Right. Which also brings up the question, who was the original Digimon King, which will never be answered. I will let you all know that. Don't ever look for it. It's not there.
It's not a clue at all?
Nope. And there's not even the Royal Knights are not even there anymore. So I'm assuming this is an entirely different world. Now, also in this series, in order to become king, you actually have to, this is a spoiler for most of y'all, but it's not too big of a thing, you have to look for what they call the Digicrowns. They're like little memory chips. And they control a different section of the digital world. If you collect all of them, you become the king. It makes this big giant chip. So that's an interesting way to play it. If you haven't realized, there's going to be more generals that they're going to be going against in bigger armies.
I like that whole idea, though, that he's like, he doesn't call him a Digidestin, he says, you are my new general. In this whole war thing, and I love the idea of a fusion wars. It makes the whole thing feel a lot more epic.
Speaking of fusion, in the Japanese, it's not fusion, it's actually Digicross. And also in the Japanese version, the show is called Digimon Cross Wars, with an actual X, R-O-S-S, Wars. Don't try to type in Cross Wars, I've done that, it doesn't come up.
Seriously?
It didn't.
Also, like, I don't know, like, the whole idea of, I don't know, to me it felt like this brought back everything that was good about the first 3 seasons. At least what I thought, because they do the whole quest-based things, which was part of a big thing in 1 and a smaller thing in season 2, but, it was still there. And then they do that whole, like, Digimon can be absorbed, their data can be absorbed into somebody. Right. Which is what Mad Leomon did. I really like that character, that was cool.
Right.
Also, there's a lot of technological references to it, which is what I really like too.
And if you were to watch the Japanese version, when Mad Leomon does that, they don't technically take it up as data. They also accept it as a Digicross. It's just a different form of doing it. But they're able to do it with like with a fake cross loader.
Oh.
Which I won't get to that point. You'll have to wait and see what that's all about. That's an actually interesting story. As you saw, there is 2 other generals, Nene and. You'll have to forgive me, I don't remember the blue guy's name. But as you saw, he does have Greymon and Melbergemon, which will become an amazing Digicross form when you see it. I won't spoil it for most of y'all. When I saw it, I geeked out very much so, and it was amazing. But I did see a lot of stuff that resembled, to going as far back as the past. Because as most of you know, Digimon Season 1, Season 2, and Season 3 were pretty good. Most people say Season 2 wasn't that good. It was trying to be repetitive. You do see that, but I mean it was still a good season. Yeah. Season 3, it was a definite game changer for the Digimon universe, and if people didn't like it, it was a drastic change. Yeah,
it was very drastic, but it was still good. I've seen that season. I don't think of it as a bad season. It's actually really good.
I think the downfall of that season was Guilmon. That was it. Guilmon was almost the downfall.
Kind of. I think that, like, as soon as he starts digivolving, it turns into this whole other thing.
Right.
But, that's a conversation for a whole nother thing.
Right.
Let's keep on fusion. Let's talk about the characters. What do you think of our main Mikey here?
He's very good as a main character. He's willing to help out anybody, and at any time, he doesn't care what it is. He's not actually, in the Japanese version, I'll say it now, he's not actually part of the basketball team. They asked him to help out, and he helps out. He's not actually good at any sports. He tells that to everybody, but yet he's able to do all these things. Like beat the guy at Kendo and do an amazing basketball shoot.
I never actually thought about that. That's interesting. I wish they would have kept that in. I don't know why they
couldn't. I don't know. They didn't. And you know how he talks about he wants to be like being on a team. That's actually what the girl said, not him. Oh. That he should be on a team. Oh. And just to say, this show it has 3 parts. Unlike Digimon, the first season, you know how it had the Devimon arc.
Right. Oh yeah, it's got like 15 different arcs, like like traditional anime.
Right. This one has 3 arcs. I call the first arc the Cross Wars. The second arc basically the generals. They're much more powerful and whatnot. And then I basically call that the Becoming the Kings arc as well. And then the third one, it was I don't know what to call it, but I'm going to call it the shit arc, because that's what it was. Alright, if most of y'all see the trailer, you'll see a guy with red hair, like a red piece of hair right here. That's actually the main character in the third arc. And Mikey is totally... He's there, but he's not even a main character, and I think they even downgraded him some.
Wow. Huh.
And so
it didn't seem like they would do that, especially given like how this first episode starts.
You would think
because he's very important to the story, or at least to the story,
to the Cross Wars series.
Yeah.
The third one it actually has nothing to do with the Cross Wars, which surprised me. It's an entirely different thing. In the Japanese, it's titled "The Warriors Who Leapt Through Time." Not to give you too much spoilers, but. And when it gets to the end, it doesn't do justice. It really doesn't, and I personally hated it. First arc, I thought it was weird, the Cross Wars, but it grew on me, and I actually enjoyed it. And then when it hit the second arc, it was amazing. I liked it. There was one thing that I didn't agree with that, but I won't say that either, because that is a main thing, a really big thing to the story and a drastic change. And those first 2 arcs did do justice, and this last one, when it gets to the last part, that's up for you to decide if you agree with me or not. But when it gets there, you'll understand. But as far as the characters go, he's a great character, and
is the character pretty much the same from the Japanese, from what you saw of the first episode?
So far, he's pretty much the same. He does his own thing, and he doesn't really care what happens as long as he's helping someone. Which the girl, as you can see, doesn't always agree with that. but she's there to back him up regardless.
I really like the side characters that we have here.
Yes, and
I had a little bit of a problem when you first told me that they were just going to focus on one main character and have a bunch of side characters with him, because that's not really how Digimon works. It has a big group of people and they're all main characters.
Right.
But, you know, I am enjoying the side characters here. Angie's she's quirky. I'll give her that.
Yeah, she's actually very quirky in the Japanese. I think they kept her as the same, just because there isn't too much that they do with these side characters, and you'll see what happens as it goes along. And the guy character,
Jeremy.
Jeremy. If anybody noticed, he sounds like Ken.
He sounds exactly like Ken from season 2.
And I enjoy that. As soon as I heard it, I was like, oh my god, that's Ken.
Yeah,
I'm sure of it.
It has to be the same actor, Derek Stephen Prince. I don't know if it is. I'm pretty sure it is because it sounds just like him. I did a little research on it and I couldn't find him associated with the show at all. But, you know, it's definitely him. It's got to be.
And I'm sure, and he's a great character, and he's actually...
Is he different from the Japanese version? He sounds like he would be.
No, actually, he's still kind of the same way, kind of whiny.
Oh, good. That's hilarious.
And so, he is like that. He's supposed to be the funny character.
Yeah.
But he has one of the best episodes devoted to him.
Oh, good.
And do you see the red thing on his head? That little pick? That's like his partner in his own way. And in the second episode, if I believe I'm right, you'll see that. And and if you notice in the Japanese version, he wasn't friends with Taiki. He just wanted to defeat him at Kendo because he was humiliated by someone who's never even done Kendo. But as it goes along, he does become more and more friends with him, and being stuck in this world, that's who you've got close to you.
That's kind of like first season 2, isn't it?
Right.
Exactly the same, where like these people didn't know each other. They went to camp together, but they don't know each other until they get put in this bizarre situation.
Right. It's only those two that don't know each other. The girl character, I wanted to say her Japanese, Akari. She's.
So they did change her name.
Yes.
She's. That's disappointing to me.
Yeah, I think the names are Americanized.
Wow,
so.
that's.
But I know I knew her name was different though. I just couldn't remember it that well. But they do have some great episodes. You saw how he fell down during the basketball game and passed out. That actually also plays another big part further in the story.
Oh.
So that's another interesting to be looking out for.
Yeah.
And so far, as for the other two characters, Nene and... Actually, I think they kept her name the same.
Oh, good.
I don't remember the other character's name. You'll have to forgive me on that one. I'd have to go look that up. But he was a great character, too. And I'm curious to see how they're going to do this, because during close to the end of this first arc, the story kind of gets a little dark. Really, really dark.
I mean, Digimon hasn't gone past dark. Like, they haven't stopped doing anything that's, like, really dark.
I know, but
this being... in Season 2, they pretty much scared the hell out of you with that whole Silent Hill-esque thing.
I know, and what I'm very curious to see is, because this is also season... this will be the season that's back on the Nickelodeon channel, so it'll be curious to see how they do it. And as for other characters that we'll see in the show, there will be definitely lots and lots of breast reduction. Seeing this episode, there is a lot of Digimon that just I don't know what's up with Japanese, but they just bam. Like there's no such thing as there's no any Digimon there that's almost a lady. There's no such thing as this.
Wow.
There's just this. So
as you pointed out to me when we were watching the first episode, they did reduce on one of the characters.
Right, Lilithmon, I believe. Something like that. I forget her name. Oh. And then Marivimon is it's a girl with a big sword. Let's just say that.
Okay.
Yeah, they're definitely there too. I showed him the trailer, so he's seen. Yeah. So
that's just weird. It's kind of bizarre talking about this because you've already seen most of this, and I've just starting to watch the Americanized version.
Right, and as the characters go along, each of them do get their own backstory, and you do learn what happens to them.
You would think tradition for Digimon.
Right, yeah. and it, I don't know how to quite say it without really saying anything, but it's not as big as an impact on you as a person watching it as you would think it would be. But it is nice to hear about it, and that's when the story does get dark, whenever you start hearing each of their backstories.
Nice.
But I can't wait for this season, and it looks amazing, and the Cross Wars are going to be, the Digifusions, sorry I should say.
Yeah.
Each of them have their own unique ability, and have their own sense of, do I want someone who's going to be able to defeat a Digimon that's faster than me, stronger than me, or anything like that. And they brought some actually characters that people wanted back for a while.
Yeah.
I will say it because it was in the trailer. Everybody knows season 3. Not Devimon. Impmon. The Evolution. Beelzebumon. Yeah, he comes back.
That's awesome.
And let me just say, he gets the best couple of episodes I've seen in a Digimon episode.
Well,
for
absolutely.
A while. And I'm sure all y'all are gonna love it. And he's a great character for this when he gets into there.
Nice.
And you're gonna want more of him. I'll say that now.
For the sake of spoilers, I'm not going to ask you any questions about that.
I won't tell you. I'm not going to tell him anything beyond that.
Okay.
Just because it was in the trailer, I'm going to say what was in the trailer. But I'm not going to spoil too much for y'all, because this show, most Digimon fans are not going to like it at the beginning, because the Digi-Cross Wars, the Digi-Fusion is a little different. It definitely is, and it's a new change for the Digimon franchise. But it does get better, and it does grow on you, and you do realize this is actually a pretty good series with each character and the Digimon that join, and the generals and the other humans that come to the digital world. I can't wait for you to see the rest of this episode, and I can't wait to come back and talk more about episode 2 and episode 3.
Yeah.
And I guarantee that this series will not disappoint once it gets further into it. Except when it gets to the final arc. I'm going to say it now, it's going to be shit. It'll be shit.
Well, you can't say that to people. I mean, if you say it's going to be shit, then it's going to be shit.
Oh no, it's going to be shit.
Okay.
I guarantee.
Well, I guess we'll see my reaction to it, because I'm probably going to be more pissed off than you at that point.
Oh yeah, you'll see. But I've already gone through my anger phase of that, so I'm a little calm about it.
Okay. Well.
But, alright, this is pretty much it for his channel. Go ahead and go to my channel. I'm going to talk a little bit more about the Japanese version and changes that they might make, and a little bit more about it in depth.